How's it going, everyone? Hi, got Robbo today. Piece of bottle brush. Even I had to think about it for a second. Just need to get that out. What happened, Robbo? What happened to you?
Power just flicked for a couple of seconds.
Yep. Resetting all the power lines from when whatever got taken out, eh?
The computer actually didn't go off, but the thing dropped out for a minute.
Yeah. Backup battery maybe.
No, don't know. Anyway, came back on again.
All motherboards have got a backup battery on. I'm really nervous about whether my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are going to come and feed our animals when we're gone.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I'm a bit anxious or nervous of whether my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are going to come and feed our animals while we're gone, as we have arranged.
Yeah. They'll do it.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't care about their own animals. That's the problem. That's why I'm a bit like, oh, we're going to do it. But I've got cameras set up in my house now, so I'm recording inside my house. So if they say they come and they didn't, then... Right. Get off.
Do a bit at a time, Jay. Don't try and do the whole thing at once. Just come in about a quarter of an inch or so and take it out to the size that you want it and move down a bit further so you give it chisel clearance to move.
That's what I did with the last vase. Did it inch by inch.
Now I'm expecting an auto electrician today sometime, so if I have to disappear, I'll just tell you. Whoops, you've gone through the corner there, have you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, well, just clean up that edge and before you start doing it again.
It's very humid today.
Sorry, I can't hear you properly.
I said it's very humid today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that flat bit.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you've got flat spots like that.
All the way down.
Yeah.
So I guess I gotta cut all that off, huh?
Drop your handle down. You should really have that handle right out towards you about 45 degrees.
Sometimes.
That's better. That's
Sometimes
better.
it's just easier for me to get it on that angle with the other hand.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is going to become a projectile soon.
Close the flute down a little bit too. It's too open. More this way. You made it too deep in there. That's the problem against that flat surface. Swing the tool rest around so it's parallel with the lathe bed and parallel with the work. And get your skew chisel. Come back about half an inch or so from the top and just put a V cut in there and then cut it off with the skew. you go.
I was going to part it off.
No, just part it off with a skew. Just cut it right through with the skew chisel. Just keep doing a series of V cuts until it comes off.
And that's why I wanted to use the cutting tool.
That's because you had the handle too high.
Goes from bad to worse.
Well, it's now a goblet.
It'll be a fracking egg cup the way I'm going. That's the handle making that muffled noise.
I think that needs sharpening, Jay, by the sound of it. Dr. Bob's in.
I clean up the stuff around my grinder and then I put stuff over there again and it makes everything vibrate like crazy. So that's why I muted it then, because there's lots of things vibrating around it, and I don't care anymore. Because you gotta like brace everything down with a bloody clamp.
Dr. Bob backstage or not?
I'm full string. I don't know. How you going?
G'day, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, howdy. I'm back here hiding.
No, you're not. You're here now. Can't hide
No
from
hiding
us.
here.
It's nice.
Yeah, no hiding. Sorry.
So what's the weather like down in southern Australia
Well, it's raining over at Jay's
today?
place.
Or it's actually tomorrow.
Well, it's raining. It's raining at Jay's place, and it's a little bit overcast here, but it's quite humid. So
Can I just say next piece?
sorry.
Can I just say next piece?
Next piece.
Yeah.
What?
It's frustrating me because I've put another hole in the side.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh,
How'd you manage that on that thin part?
You got it. Look how thick the rest of it is. I thought I was safe.
No. You always got to work off the thin sides.
I did say it was going to be an egg cup, didn't I?
Well, you can make it into an egg cup.
okay. I don't understand. It looks even from here to be thick. How
Oh, look,
can-
this piece here, Dr. Bob, look. See this?
It's got a big flat
Yeah.
section on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because with the lighting, it doesn't show that it's flat. It just shows
Okay.
round.
Yeah. You see? Can you see the rippling in it there?
Oh, yeah. It's really pretty.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be there for much longer the way I'm going.
Amy's in. Amy's in. Good afternoon, Amy.
How you going, Amy?
She's living high on the hog today. Charcoal chicken and chips with gravy.
That's it, you're
Oh.
banned. Get out.
You right for tomorrow, eh, Amy?
What's going on?
I was just asking Amy if she's right for tomorrow.
Hey, if anyone doesn't rock up, I'll eat their food. Don't worry about them wasting food.
Gonna be more than enough. Yes, certainly.
What?
Amy's asking if it's okay for her to bring Lee and the girls, and I said, yeah, of course it is. G'day,
Yeah.
Chris.
I thought that just would have been part of the invite. Everyone.
Yeah.
There you go, I made a ring. Thanks for coming to my live today. Have a good day, everyone. Oh, we can put it around the camera. There we go.
And Chris from Barley Woodworks is in too, Joe.
How you going, Chris? Welcome to the once was goblet, which is now a egg cup.
Well, your wood has a mind of its own.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's the silly
Well,
bastard
it
holding
wanted
the
to be
tools.
an egg cup, evidently.
It's the silly bastard
That-
holding the tools.
Well, I never say that. I always say the wood has a mind of its own. It's been around longer than I've been alive, so why not? It's not true, but you don't want to ever, it's nice to say I made a mistake, but once you look at it and you realize you screwed up, make a joke of it. It's a wood's fault.
Uh-huh.
It's your neighbor's
just-
fault. It's
I just call it. I just call it a practice piece.
Yeah,
I'll blame Bob today.
that's
I'm blaming
fine.
Bob today.
I mean, you got to be able to laugh at it. You can't take it serious. 'Cause I've done that, and years and years ago, that's how I had serious depression problems from being a POW, and I was able to take the anger out. Well, they made me do it, and I know better. But it was always fun. So I say, blame the wood. It wanted to be something different.
Actually, Jay, with that flat spot, it's nearly down to the size you can get anyway.
No? What was that, Roy?
If you have a look at the flat spot, it's nearly down to the wall thickness you need anyway.
Yeah, I was just
Getting
about to
very-
go grab an egg. I'm going to go grab an egg and test it.
Yeah, right. Oh, you just wait, Chris. I'll hassle Dark about using cloths. Because a rag leaves a far better finish than the paper towel does on everything.
Well, I would tend to agree with you, Robo, though I have found this industrial paper towels they have, they're blue here,
Yeah, they're
3 times
sort
the
of,
money, but they do a pretty good job. I've used that when I do finishing, because I'm always afraid because of an accident once where the rag was too
Right.
big and it got caught in one of the corner of the tang of one of the chucks that was spinning, and it didn't catch me, but it could have, and pulled me into it. So that's something I never forget. It's better
Right.
if it's paper and it
good
tears.
Good afternoon, you handsome piece of manhood, Dark.
Oh, man. How did he get back in here? There you
In fact, I'm seriously considering doing a video on using cloths and paper and the differences between them and the safety factors behind them. I have never, ever had my hands pulled into a lathe because of a piece of cloth. And I've had lots of cloth get caught on things.
You're welcome, but there was 3 bottles, so.
It's only been in the last 10 years, I think, that people have suddenly said, oh, cloths are dangerous. Cloths are dangerous. But you try doing a French polish without a rag and see how far you get.
Well, I've never seen it happen. I have to admit, I've never seen it happen, but I've heard stories, whether the stories are for teaching purposes.
No,
Don't know, but
you've never
had it
seen
happen.
you've never seen a cloth get caught, Bob?
Yeah, and wrap a person's hand up in
Oh.
the lathe.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's because they hold them wrong. That's the problem.
Robbo, send him that
Yeah.
video you sent me.
With the bloke on the lathe, yeah. Well, that's the whole point. It's how you approach everything. And unfortunately, with a lot of people coming into the hobby now, half of them haven't even used a bloody electric drill, let alone spun anything on a lathe. They have no idea of the consequences of holding anything. Like, I've seen quite a few accidents with a bloody drill where people have gouged it through their leg because suddenly it's grabbed, snapped the drill, and then spun out and grabbed their sock or whatever and ripped their ankle apart. Because some of the high torque drills that we use in industry are, So it's really lack of education on the part of the people teaching them. Don't get me
Yep.
started.
Could very well be. I know where you're coming from. I know there's some simple, stupid stuff, like you never wrap anything around a hand or a finger or anything like that.
To
but
be
that's
fair though,
something that you
Robbo,
learn,
you started that.
you know, at a young age.
Yeah, like there's a lot of, oh yeah.
But
Amy said, look what an electric nail gun can do. Like, I've seen a bloke put a nail into the back of another worker on the other side of a wall with a nail gun. I think it was
I've
more
seen some
painful.
bad accidents.
I think
Oh, those are pretty.
they're magpies. And I think it hurt the poor bugger more when I pulled the nail out than when it went in.
that's a family there. There's 2 adults and 2 babies. Oh, okay. Amber's counted 7. There's 7. 3 somewhere else apparently. Oh, 1 up there.
Oh yeah.
But if they've got a good place to breed, they can have like 3 or 4 at once.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, we've got about 8 or 9 around our place. They don't come down when people are around, but if I'm here by myself, they quite often wander into the workshop.
Yeah.
Say
Oh,
good day and walk back out again.
Yeah, we always put our leftovers out, what we don't eat, since we don't have a dog to give them to anymore. And yeah. I don't mind feeding them.
That one's still going for the worm under the ground there somewhere.
He's
But it's
got
funny
it
when
in-
you. It's funny
He's
when
got
you
it.
talk. Yeah, it's funny when you talk to them. They cock their head to the side.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to get them in the habit of tapping. So I tap the side of the can, the cat can.
Yeah.
So they'll get used to me eventually.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think anybody could get used to you.
Oi, get out of here, mongrel. Have you heard the term? If I wanted to hear an arsehole, I would have farted.
Why don't somebody wants me?
Oh, how convenient.
So when do you leave for Robos?
3:00 in the morning.
Okay, so you're going up
Tonight.
tonight for you.
Yeah.
Have a safe trip.
Yeah, I will. Definitely. It's the other idiots I got to watch out for.
It always is.
No, I've got my rules for driving on the roads out there, and it's don't overtake unless there's an overtake lane. Even if the person's doing 50 k's, stay behind them. Stay calm, because I can just like that, and I'm annoyed with someone for being a dickhead on the road, you know.
No. You don't want to have road rage.
Oh no. I mean, none of that. I'll just like verbalize something to Amber, and we'll discuss it for a little bit, and you just keep going, you know.
Does she drive too?
No, it doesn't have a
Right.
license.
What I'd do, Jay, is turn that, because it's too big for an egg cup at the moment.
Yeah. So,
Take-
sorry. Can I just say something?
Yeah, take the outside down.
Yeah.
So it's underneath that flat bit, and then form your egg cup from there.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing down in here.
Yeah, right here. Always make sure the tool's on the tool rest before you put it into the wood. Dark wants to come in.
Oh, what? He
So
could
they're
have done
gonna-
that. No, sorry. That whole time I was standing there doing nothing, and as soon as I put the tool to the wood, he's like, "I want to come in now." You have to wait. Sorry.
Good things are always worth waiting for, aren't they?
Oh,
Oh, come on, Darky, don't be like that.
I guess he
Hello.
doesn't agree with that comment.
hello, Dark. How are you, my boy?
He's on mute or something, or he hasn't got his microphone turned on or something. I don't know. Swing it down. Swing the microphone down. Swing your
Can't
microphone down from your headset.
Can't hear you, Dark. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
We can.
Set to this microphone, and I'm using the Yeti microphone, so it was just I just had to put it in the settings. I was backstage for like an hour, Jay.
Oh, you poor devil.
I know, right?
You're only the understudy, man, so you have to wait.
Yeah. And Robo, I disagree with you.
I don't care if you disagree with me or not. But all right, Dark, look at it this way. The sandpaper you use normally for wood turning is cloth backed or mesh.
No, mine's paper.
Yeah, no, well, we use cloth backed or mesh, and 90% of the wood turners do. The other thing is that people use those Brillo pad sort of things, you know, those Nilo Flex or whatever they are.
I never use them.
I use them frequently.
Oh, I got a pile of clean ones. I even
And
take them and throw them in the laundry.
And there's something even worse that some people use, and that's steel wool.
Oh, I never use that crap. It messes your finish up.
Yeah, it does. If you're not, you must put a finish on before you use steel wool anyway. So,
Even after
but
I put a finish on, it always like it gets hot and then it'll burn into your finish and it'll leave steel wool marks in it, and then you got to sand it back down to bare wood and then do all that work over again. I never use steel wool. It's messy stuff.
well, you know what causes friction, don't you? That. See that the things on the end of your arms, they cause friction because you press too heavy. Yeah, that
They
thing.
got man muscles. Yeah. No, I mean, to each their own. But I think you can get the same finish from using one of those blue paper towels. I don't like the cheap paper towels. I'd rather spend the extra money and get them blue shop towels. They're just like cloth, and they're much safer.
I agree. I got both on in my shop, the blue and the white. And the white ones I get are the paper ones where the sheet itself you can tear in half to make quarter sheets.
Right.
They're a few dollars more, but that way I don't waste paper because I find I often throw a lot of it away.
My beloved used to work at the schools, and every once in a great while she'd bring me home a big roll of the school paper toweling, and that stuff was just like paper, but it worked great for putting on a finish.
The other thing with using paper towels and things is it's not absorbent as a cloth. It doesn't hold as much finish as what a cloth does.
No, but the blue ones I don't mind.
No,
because
the
my
blue
finish
one,
is I put in little squeeze bottles, so I put it on one side as as it's turning and going on.
The blue one, the blue stuff is, I must admit, far superior to normal paper towel. But I get into horrible arguments with people about this. And I know a bloke that lost $1,000 prize because he used a paper towel to polish his bloody finished article, and I was the judge. Because when you put it on, it had little white flecks in it, and I couldn't work out what it was. So I went out to the car and got my magnifying glass out, and it was little bits of paper embedded into the finish. So,
well,
yeah,
to each their own. To each their own, I guess. I could care less, really. I mean, it's your fingers.
Well, that's right.
I had one of those I had a rag catch on me, and it just beat the piss out of me for like 3 seconds. It wasn't long, but it was long enough to know not to do it again. And after that, I'd prefer to use paper towels.
You're just a bloody big sook.
I am. So what now?
Well, he's a Michigander. What do you expect?
Hey, now.
Well, the gander part I'd agree with.
You have to be a Michigander to understand it.
That's the whole point, Amy. Just don't be stupid no matter what you use. Always use everything safely.
Right.
Because, man, a pencil can kill you if it has to.
You're not 50 years old, Bailey. Now we're going to argue about that. He says he's 50. I don't believe it.
No, I don't think so either. Doesn't look it. Doesn't.
He
sound
just wants
like
to. He just wants to argue with me tonight. That's all.
Well, let him just jump in here.
Yeah, come on in here. Come on in here. Come on in here, Bailey. I'll give you one of these. One of these.
We're going to have wood turning rage today, not road rage. Wood turning rage.
Hi, Louie. Turn 15. Well, you don't look a day over 20, man. I thought you were just a young buck.
Oh, I know he's got a couple of kids. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that don't necessarily make him 50. Come
We
on,
can
let's see
always
some-
start early or adopt.
Let's see some documentation there, Bailey.
He wants to see your birth certificate now.
Yep. Social Security number
ID.
2. Social Security. I need pictures of birth certificate, Social Security number, and proof of address.
Copy of your signature so he can copy it and become you.
Yeah, just give
Yeah.
us your bank. Just give us your bank details. That's all.
Yeah, that too. Rowdy numbers.
And the winning lottery numbers.
And the combination to your shop lock.
Actually, I'm a bit annoyed about our new licenses. Actually,
Why?
I'll just get mine out later.
Baby says, "Hold on."
Hey,
How you going, Paul?
g'day, Paul.
But,
The biggest writing on our driver's licenses is that at the back. Your bloody birthday.
1950. Holy smokes! So you
Like-
were born in
like the
July
rest-
of 1950, huh?
That's right. There's the rest of it where I look like a common criminal.
You do?
That's the biggest lettering on the whole thing. So as I know how old you are as soon as I pull your license.
What day were you born?
Second.
The 2nd?
Yeah.
I was born on the 14th.
Of July.
Yep,
July was a very good year.
it
Very
was.
good month.
Made beautiful stuff in July.
Yeah.
You mean I'm the oldest fart here?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We knew that.
I'm the youngest.
You're not supposed to agree with. I have always told people that you're as old as you feel and as young as you act.
Isn't it as young as you touch?
Sarge is in.
Well, you can get
Sarge.
slapped if you touch some things.
Oh my.
G'day, Sarge. How are you? You want to get in, do you?
Hey Sarge. Come on in here.
Hey,
we'll
Paul,
we'll
how
talk
are you
about you.
doing, young fellow? We're talking about age. You're probably the youngest on here inside already,
Oh, Sarge, what are you doing?
besides Jay.
Jay's only what, 21?
Yeah, Sarge
in a
doesn't
few
come in here
months.
anymore.
Yeah, Paul. You might as well buy into the argument. What do you use, a cloth or a paper towel to polish with? Sorry, I got your mouth full there. Yeah, Amy's the youngest. I can't hear you, Paul. You're muted.
I was. Yeah, here they've got what's that, a safety cloth, which is paper based, really. So that's what I normally use.
Yeah.
Not
What
the same
color?
word.
Is it a colored cloth?
No, it's just white. Just
Okay.
but yeah, sometimes I just use ordinary kitchen towel, which is again just paper.
Well, we've got a blue towel. Looks like a kitchen towel, but it's
Yeah.
heavy, like and that's what I use. I love it.
Yeah.
A little more money, but I'd buy them in 3-packs.
Yeah, I've
Or
seen
shop
those. Of that
packs
as
of
well. Yeah, we
6.
get them here too.
Though I find with the shutdown, and my free shipping, and not being able to go anywhere, I occasionally, like, I was short of towels about 6 months ago. So I happened to pick, instead of the 8-pack or the 6-pack of towels, I hit a case. So now I've got my towels by the case in my shop. They will outlive me. At least the blue ones.
Oh, them are the good ones, man.
Oh, I know, but that's what I use for putting on waxes and polishes. The
I
only
under-
time
I
I use
understand-
the white ones is when the
There you go,
lathe isn't
Sarge.
turning.
I
Hey,
understand-
Sarge.
Howdy,
y'all.
I understand what Rob was saying about the paper towels. Now, the cheaper paper towels, yes, they flake off and they'll leave little spots in your finish. I get that, but the blue ones don't do that.
No.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that point. But the blue industrial ones, I've used them myself on not for polishing or anything, but for other things around the place.
Mm.
And they are very, very good because they're virtually fibre reinforced, like they've got almost
There's a-
cotton through them.
Yeah, and they might even be a type of cloth. I don't know, but
Yeah.
they have a cloth feel to them too. So
Yeah,
they don't
Yeah,
feel
and
like
they
regular
fit-
paper towel.
They feel good on your bone too when you're out in the woods.
Well,
Yeah.
well, anything's better than your finger or a leaf.
or a pine
Oh,
cone.
Yeah.
But not
Or
like
co-
Charmin. Charmin
or a
still
corn
doesn't
cone.
feel as good as blue towels.
So you use blue towels instead of Charmin?
No. In the woods, yeah. For that type of stuff, I would.
Hey, Robo,
How are you, Sarge?
I'm good.
Oh.
And
By the way, happy birthday for the other day. I forgot.
thank you. Yeah, it's been a busy week, very busy week. And so by the time I get home, I just want to veg out.
Hmm.
Plus,
Sarge-
I've been on medication that just whacks me out as soon as I get home too.
Sarge must still be a young guy because he's still having birthdays.
Hey, and Robo, I guess my daughter's good to go because her birthday's the 2nd too.
Sorry, what was that?
I said my Brooklyn's birthday's the 2nd too,
Well, she must be a good kid.
and Ida's is the 5th, and then Savannah, our oldest daughter, hers is the 22nd.
You were busy, weren't you?
Yeah, actually, on the technical side, Brooklyn's my only, but on the real side, they're all mine,
Yeah.
all ours. Because we even got a son that's he's 21, and his is in June.
Man, I wish I was 21 again.
Oh man, if I was 21 again, I would only probably live for about 18 months, I reckon.
Yeah.
With all the toys they've got now, like jet skis, and bloody mountain bikes and everything, I'd kill myself, I reckon.
I'm surprised we didn't kill ourselves at our ages back.
Well,
In our days.
yeah, we used to jump ordinary old road bikes off ramps and things like that.
Yeah.
Hello,
and
Robert.
now
How you
now
going, Robert?
Thinking about
G'day,
how
Rob.
heavy them bikes were. We're lucky we
Yeah.
didn't kill ourselves. Break our
That's
damn
right.
necks.
Up
Hi, Hodge.
in the
Yeah, but
house
they were-
that I grew up in, we had 2 big oak trees at the end of the driveway, one in my yard and one in my neighbor's yard. And the one in my yard went under the root went under the sidewalk and up into the front edge of the yard. And so I'd go flying about 4 or 5 houses down on my bicycle on the sidewalk, turn in my driveway and ramp that root. And I got 2 scars, one on either side of my head because we had a gravel driveway. One was from the rock, and the other one was from my dad's tailpipe of his car.
Oh,
Chris is backstage, Joe.
he coming to fight.
How you going, Chris?
G'day, Chris.
I'm ready for you, Chris.
All right. You have to do the
Joe,
math.
your handle should be right round nearly towards the headstock, all right?
Jumping out of trampoline.
You see that, Dart?
I can't see it. It's too small, Chris.
Ha!
Oh, there we go.
I guess I am the youngest one still on the panel.
You're 1 year younger than I am. No, you're 1
Okay.
year older than me.
Now that's your license. where's your bank card so we can get the details off that
Yeah,
quickly?
we're going to
Oh.
need the details from the bank card for real proof.
They're still out in the truck. Let me go get those.
Man, I would never believe it. You don't look you
No,
look like
my-
you're in your late 20s, early 30s, man.
I'll take that.
I would have never guessed 50.
It's clean living.
That's what you trying to say, Chris.
It's using rags.
Well,
Using rags
part of
to
it-
finish and not paper towels.
For us older people, Chris, the Mohawk also brings back mentally a period of time when we were young.
Yes.
So subconsciously, that immediately hits a person to try to put you at the age when we had them or we wanted to but weren't allowed to.
Never had one.
I didn't either. I must admit, I used to have fairly long hair, particularly after I came back from overseas. I let my hair and beard grow down. I looked like Cousin It for 12 months.
Yeah, I never would have guessed you were 50, dude. Not even for a minute.
I'm in
And
I'm in
just,
youth ministry, so I had to do the Mohawk for the kids.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Just to answer Robert. Yeah. We didn't have a trampoline, but he said we used to have about 8 of us jumping on the trampoline at the same time with no cage.
Yeah.
I used to go on the school trampolines and end up getting tangled in the springs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was in gymnastics when I was younger, and we had the industrial or the Olympic style trampoline.
The big square ones.
Yeah, the rectangular ones with that mesh.
Yeah.
And the big mesh strips. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised to have kids.
I stayed the hell off them things.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I just stopped in to show you that.
All right. No worries, Chris.
Thanks for
All right,
having me.
Chris. Have a good time.
Bye, Chris. Take care, buddy. Now I know what I could give him hell about. Though.
The thing I used to hate about trampolines was after being on them for 15 or 20 minutes, you'd get off and you'd walk like you were drunk, because your knees couldn't stand up straight.
Amy, darling. Oh, my.
No, you behave yourself, Doc.
Hey, she's
I
throwing
got
Nexus up there. 2 more, and we're going to have ourselves a porno.
I got my eye on you.
I got my eye on you.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, Paul, what was your thing when you were young?
What do you mean by thing?
Well, here they're jumping and off bikes,
Oh, just all
or
sorts of
jumping
stuff.
bikes
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Climbing trees, jumping out of them into nets, all sorts of stuff.
You're brought up
Oh.
in the country.
Pretty much, yeah. Small village, so we were right on the edge of countryside, basically. Yeah.
And yeah, Robert, I agree. He said I went to a kid's birthday party at a trampoline obstacle course, and I jumped on it for about 3 jumps, and I felt like I slipped a disc. It's amazing how the brain overtakes the body sometimes, isn't it? Like my brain still thinks I'm 18 sometimes.
Yeah.
The body
You're
tells
as
me
old-
otherwise very shortly.
You're
Yeah,
as
I'm real
old as
young
you
and-
feel, as young as you act.
I'm real young mentally.
Yeah, we all know that.
I'm working up to my 12th. I'm working up to my 12th birthday. Mentally.
Oh, you haven't reached puberty then yet, Doc?
I know. I'm still waiting for him to drop. Nah, I don't. I don't feel young physically, but man, I mentally I don't think I'll ever grow up. There ain't no fun in it.
Well, that's true.
Well, it's like Peter Pan. He insisted he would never grow up.
Wow. He did. Did you ever watch Hook? I don't think they could have picked a better guy to play Robin Hood uh, Peter Pan than
Robin
Robin
Williams.
Williams. Yeah, I had to think of it. Had to think of it for a minute. He was quite an actor, man.
Ah, yes.
I remember catching him in when he did stand-up comedy before he made it big.
No, Amy, we're not funny. We're just peculiar. That's all.
Oh, Paul's in the oddball group with Jay.
Yeah, it was a great loss, but I think he went out the way he wanted to. I give him props for that because a lot of people say it was a cowardly way out, but when you think about all the pain he was looking at, I don't blame him.
No, my brother committed suicide, and I've always, people say, oh, it's a coward's way out, but I don't think so. It's a conscious decision, and it must be a weight off their shoulders when they decided to do it.
Of course, it does transfer the weight to others, but I mean,
That's
when it's that bad, there's some people just can't think of any other way out.
That's right. It suddenly becomes so overwhelming to them that. But yeah, you're right. It leaves a lot of grief, particularly.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't work for 6 months after my brother did it, so destroyed me.
Well, I can understand, a healthy person, doing it. That can be devastating and whatnot. But in Robin's case, he was old. He was sick.
Yeah.
And not to mention, he went his whole life fighting depression. He was the funniest man on earth, but inside he was mentally just distraught.
And it's amazing that a lot of people that seem to be the jokers and everything on the outside, like comedians, are probably the most afflicted with it.
Yeah, that's seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if y'all seen it. Dark and Bob probably have, but there's a commercial for one of those medications and stuff like that where everybody's running around and they're showing the plate with the smiley face on a popsicle stick as the outside, showing the world that they're happy, but on the inside they're still depressed. That's pretty much the way like Robin Williams and others are and were.
But to look at him or to meet him or to talk to him, you would have never believed it.
No, that's right.
And whether they're actors or not, that some of them have to be actors even when they're not.
That's too bad, Amy. I'm sorry to hear that, hon.
I was just about to say the same thing. But, oh well.
But anyways, I mean, not to lighten this or lighten that subject, but let's find another one. Because that was part of the reason why I was off, was not that actual situation, but I was wore out mentally and physically this week.
Yeah. Yes, Joe.
Is Julie's name spelt the normal way, like with IE?
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Amber.
Hey, Jay.
She's gone.
Liar, paint on fire.
I heard her though.
Jay. Now that used to be a mug of some sort. Then it went to a goblet. Now it's an egg cup. If you mess it up now, where are you going with it?
A thimble.
Toothpick.
A thimble.
A thimble.
But we
I thought it was
Excuse me.
one of the. Sorry, go
we
ahead.
were talking about safety too. And I just noticed when Jay bent over, he still got the strap or whatever from his hoodie hanging down. And I have seen a person strangled on a lathe because they got caught and wrapped around a piece of the chuck. And they couldn't get the lathe turned off in time. So around my shop and others, we make them tuck it inside.
He's got a
'Cause
point, Jay.
that is a death waiting to happen because you can't turn it off in time. And with sweatshirts, they're just too strong. If it's a little light cowboy shirt and it's like a shoestring, yeah, it'll break, but it'll leave a big mark on your neck.
Amy
Just
says
that I've seen it happen.
Amy says the next step is a shot glass, Jay.
Yeah,
I was thinking-
shot glass could come before a thimble, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was thinking one of those ball catches. All you gotta do is put because every time he sticks that little orange piece in there, that's what it looks like. One of those little rubber balls.
The
you put it
games.
on
Yeah.
the games that you put on a rope or a bungee.
Yeah, or he could turn a golf tee out of it as well.
Worst case scenario,
What's
it becomes a toothpick.
I saw that thumb come up then, Jay. You giving us cheat.
It's just hiding behind some other fingers. That's all.
He's reading. It's. He wants you to read between the lines.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when I was in the Air Force, you give a three-fingered salute, and unfortunately, most of the people knew exactly what it meant because they could read between the lines too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it meant. And I don't know what branch of the military we got that from, but I remember it on an R&R in Ramstein once.
I think I see a hole in there, Jay.
Yeah, it's for the booze.
Oh my. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
It's an egg with the chicken coming out of it.
I was laughing about Amy's comment. She's such a sweet girl.
Well, Paul, I really appreciated the video. That was extremely interesting.
No
The
problem.
one you did.
Good.
Which one was that?
Pewter casting with wood. Doing
Pewter,
a pewter rim or a bowl.
pewter, blah, blah. Pewter casting?
Yep.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a private video he made.
That's all right.
Make
I
sure
can-
you fork the money over.
No, if I find a link, you can have if you just click the link, you'll find it. Let me get it. No, I did it as a club demo, so I just put it online for the club to watch for a month. But if you want to watch it, you can.
Really good. And I found the, what do you call it? The smelter?
Yeah, the
pot?
melting pot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking those up, and they're really dirt cheap here over here.
Hmm.
Talking
Well,
about
you don't-
Forge.
Someone else was looking them up in the States, and he said he couldn't find one because they just seem to be sold out. Everyone seems to be buying them up at the moment for casting bullets and lead and stuff, I suppose, at the moment.
Yeah, I found them on eBay where people were selling them, and a store going out of business in Las Vegas had like 20 of them. And
Talking about
So-
Forge.
no, a melting pot for melting metals.
Yeah, you don't need much to melt pewter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
Dean. I can't ever pronounce his. I think it's Tomoko's Enterprises. I hear on YouTube. He does silver, and he uses map gas and a cast iron ladle.
Mhm. I'll put a link in the chat for that video.
I
Well,
would
Robbo-
imagine.
Robbo
pewter would be about the same.
Robbo
Yes,
sent me a
Jay.
link the other day, and it was a demo that Richard Finley, is that how you spell it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he
Richard Finley,
did with pewter on the top of the bowl. That was pretty cool. And he had a lead-free pewter. I didn't know that existed, but okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, now
So
at least
let,
here in
let
the
me ask,
States, it's the only way you can get it.
let me ask you a question. Now, are you pouring hot pewter into wood?
Yeah. You can
I
use.
pour
Well,
hot lead
into masonite. I don't
No,
know.
I-
What,
Depends on the type of wood and the type of pewter. They have different melting points. There's some woods are more prone to scorching than others. So there are some of the hot melt pewters, they will scorch the wood. So it depends on what the wood is and which type of pewter you use. And I've got another type of pewter I use, which is a much lower temperature, and that won't scorch the wood.
wow.
Yeah, I melt
Yeah,
lead
that-
into wood sometimes.
Wonder how aluminum would work, because aluminum has a pretty low.
Yeah, that
melting
melts a
point, too.
lot hotter. That is going to burn the wood big time.
It must have a higher melting temperature than pewter. Then
Yeah,
Oh,
very
yeah.
much so. Yeah, much higher.
Hey, Dark, there's another video there to go check out. You can skim through it until you get to the pewter part, but he just makes a mold out of a piece of wood on the lathe.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And then you just bang it out with a hammer when you're done.
Hmm.
Like, and you make a handle on it too, so that you can put it in the lathe and turn it down and make it round, make it perfectly round.
all right. Well, I clicked on it and let it play for a second, so it goes into my.
But you
my
also,
history.
if you make a blank out of wood, the wood has to be kiln dried. It has to be super, super dry. If it's got any moisture in it, it'll affect the pewter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's not
'cause
kiln dried. I mean, I don't kiln dry it as such, but yeah, you want it dry, pretty dry.
That's if you're pouring it into it. But your method,
Yeah.
you didn't pour it into the wood. And that's what I found very interesting. I watched it and I said, I've seen this. And all of a sudden, well, no, I have never seen that done.
Yeah.
You know, that technique you have. So you're not pouring it into the wood.
Yeah. Yeah, the melting pot's quite handy because you don't have to move it. You don't have to pick it up. You just lift the lever and it pours out of the nozzle at the bottom. So yeah, it makes life a bit easier.
The ones that are going really cheap now here are ones that do that, but the smaller ones, the bigger ones that are twice the size, they're the ones that are hard to get.
Right.
The one that you have, the smaller one, that's what I found. A bunch of them. Some store out of business in Las Vegas had a bunch they were selling.
Yeah.
They were under $100 plus shipping.
Mm.
I don't have the 100, but I was looking into it.
Well, I'm sure you can make a forge for melting it real easy. Just have a tin can and some coffee can and some refractory
Absolute,
cement.
something like that. That'll do it. Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to be doing a lot, it'd be great, you know.
I'm talking about when we were kids earlier. I used to make my own fishing weights out of lead, and I used to melt those in an old saucepan on the stove. But you could do the same with pewter, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
We did the same thing, but we used an old cap and ball mold
yeah,
for making balls for a muzzle loader.
yeah.
Black
And then-
powder.
And then we'd melt swivels into them
Hmm.
and cast them that way.
Yeah.
The Patriot.
Well, I don't know how patriotic it was, but caught fish.
No, I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all seen it and remember?
Yeah, where he's melting down the little men.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that was back when they still made toys out of lead. You know, lead toys. They're great for kids.
Oh, the soldiers? I had a ton of them that my dad handed down to us, my brother and I. And it was his father, or my grandfather, which I'd never met, had a mold and made them for all the kids in the neighborhood.
You know, that'd be nice to have one of those old molds. You could make them out of aluminum. Now I imagine. I don't know if I imagine the molds are made out of like cast or some cast steel.
Probably sand cast them.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Well, I've got some silicon molds I use for casting pewter as well, which I made myself. It's just a high
Those hold
temperature
up?
silicon, and that works
I was gonna
okay.
say.
I used to make a lot of wooden patterns once for where the foundry up the road that used to cast aluminium and steel, cast iron,
Yeah.
and I made a heck of a lot of patterns for them for various things. Now there's a challenge if you want one. making patterns, they have to be down to 1,000th of an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
do a
they have to
video on
be?
it.
Don't they have to be 2 halves too?
Yeah, sometimes, but it's rather interesting. I didn't do the maths or anything on it, but the amount of mathematical calculations, because they've got to work out the shrinkage of the steel, the temperature of the steel, and it's absolutely fascinating how they work it all out so that it ends up a perfect size.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything crazy like that, but we used to make molds or forms for concrete waste.
Oh yeah. I've even made patterns for concreters to make the columns. You know, like the other half of the thing. Like, fortunately, I made the actual column so they could push it into the sand, and then they formed plaster cast ones, and then put concrete into them to make the molds of like columns on balustrades and things on old buildings.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That must have been fun.
Oh, it was great, but you could spend up to 3 days just on one pattern because it had to be so precise.
Now, let me ask you a question. I imagine you turned it on your lathe first, but the grooves. How'd you get the grooves in there, with a angle grinder or something?
No. Actually, the way that the grooves are calculated in Grecian thingos is, I'll draw it. Jay, if you'd like to put me up on full screen for a minute, please. Sorry.
There he goes. He's thinking it's his, just because it's his channel, it's his live stream, Robo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he gets a bit possessive sometimes.
He does. He's so cute when he does it.
So what you do is you start with a square like that there, and then you draw a circle around the outside of it using the center of the square. Like I say, I'm not an artist. Now, that little quadrant there is the exact shape of what the fluting and reading is down a Corinthian column. It was all worked out mathematically. And I thought, geez, how am I going to get a cutter that's going to cut that exact shape? And would you believe that we have a manufacturer of router bits there called Carby Tool? They make a cove cutter that is exactly that shape. So I was fairly lucky. I could put it into a router, and then I had the column lying down like 10 foot long it was. And then I had a sled that used to run along with the router along the front of it and just put the grooves down it. And it's all worked out. Oh, well.
That must be one heck of a router bit.
Oh, it is. It's an inch and a half across. It's nearly 50 mil across.
And how many times did you have to run that through there to get the column? Well, I guess it would depend on how big the columns were.
Well, they were 10-foot columns on that particular job that I did that on. The smaller ones were much easier. Like we made some that were only 2 or 3 feet tall, and then they had a square plinth put on the top and the bottom. But
So it didn't have a very wide groove in it then, huh?
The 10-foot one, the 3 meter ones, they had a inch and a half across the top of the flute.
Okay.
But the hardest part, because you've got to taper down it, is you've got to taper the reeds as well. So you had to set the slide up exactly right so as it was even all the way. You had an even thickness between the 2 grooves all the way up.
Right.
So I always said I could never see any use for geometry at school, but geez, I use geometry just about every day today. See you later, Amy. But no, it was a good job. I'll see if I can find the picture of it.
See you later, Amy. Thanks for coming in. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you, Amy.
Manana.
Stay sexy.
Put it on share screen when you've got it, Robbo.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I think you missed a spot.
Yeah, I've got a niece that's an archaeologist.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Right there.
And,
Yeah.
Her studying in archaeology was really
that's right.
fantastic, and the places that she went on digs.
There.
And one of the things that intrigued me one night when she got back from, I think it was 15 months overseas working on taking some columns that had been buried in sand for years and years and getting them cleaned out, dug up, and the work ready for engineers to take and put them back on the buildings that they were supposed to be on. Others were doing footings and that. But it was all done by university students over a 4 or 5 year period. And she told me that the columns actually tapered. They were smaller at the top than they were on the bottom. And that amazed, and she'd never thought of that. And it seemed to be very popular to do that because when you looked up, the eye knows that as things are at a distance from you, they look smaller. So it faked the people out to make them think the columns were taller. And it was quite common to do that way.
They're not actually tapered, Bob. There's a thing called a starcher. For 1/3 of the column length, they are actually straight, and then they start tapering down to get thinner at the top, because an optical illusion is that if you turn them tapered, they'll actually look like a needle. They'll pull in. So they have to be sort of straight and then slightly taper, so that when you look up at them, they do look exactly tapered all the way up.
Okay,
I'll
I know
put
she
a-
said they were tapered at the top, so I
Yeah,
assume
they are. They taper from
Only at the
1/3
top.
up. They taper from 1/3 up, and then the last 2/3 are tapered. I'll put a link in the chat, and if you go there, you'll see the whole story of them.
Okay.
They were 10 foot tall. They were done for a sculptor, so. And even you can see them, Dark. They're on Instagram.
Awesome. I thought you were going to say Facebook. I'd be like, oh.
No, I know you don't do Facebook.
I try not to. I do have a Facebook page, and I do go there occasionally. I keep it for my kids mainly, and my grandbabies, so I can see pictures of them. But to hang out on Facebook, I'm there a half an hour, and it feels like I never want to go back again. I mean, generally I can get through 1 or 2, maybe 3 posts on Facebook before somebody's crying about something.
Oh, yeah, well.
So they're not the people I follow. I keep track of my family and like the Detroit area wood turners, stuff like that, clubs that I'm active in, because that's just not put up with. So you don't see it there. It's just informational and not begging for something or want sympathy.
Well, I just found that instead of going through hundreds of people and deleting them, it's just easier not to go there.
I never go in I'm selective to what I join in.
Oh wow, I have too. But you know, I've been on Facebook since like 2010, and I got on there late, I thought, and in that time, you know, between different video games I played with people and whatnot, I picked up a bunch of different people, and
yeah,
And this link I'm putting up now is the actual, just after I set the log up, just before I started turning it. It's only a minute or so long.
Is that the one on your Facebook page?
No, on the YouTube channel page, the big log one.
yeah. No, just like jump in and join the Detroit area wood turners, and you won't find anything like you don't like. It's just people talking about what they're doing.
oh no, I get that.
Honest,
I mean,
honest notes and criticism, positive normally, because
holy smokes.
negative criticism doesn't do any good unless you can say, well, there's a better way of doing something, or this is how I do it. You don't say what they did was bad. You might say you consider it unsafe with their technique, but that's about it. Because we do monitor it for people who jump in, who just want to criticize, and then they're thrown out.
Oh, is that why all
I
my
don't
posts?
criticize.
Is that why all my posts get banned off there? Is it, Bob?
I haven't seen anything banned. I see
Even
you
with-
and Jay and a bunch of people.
Even with Bailey and Robbo using cloths, I don't criticize. I just think it's unsafe. Crickets. Chirp, chirp. Robbo, that was one heck of a pen blank you had there, buddy.
Yeah, right.
That would be one heck of a pen blank. That piece
You're
of
not
wood was
kidding.
almost as big as you were in diameter alone.
Oh yeah. It was 800 in diameter. It weighed just on 2.5 ton because it was as wet as a shag on a rock.
And that's not your big lathe.
No, that wasn't Henry. That one's Natasha.
Natasha. Mm.
Wow.
She's a sexy lathe, let me tell you.
It's called Natasha because that's a Russian bitch. It's made up out of
Temperamental.
about. It's actually made up of about 4 lathes. That one. I don't use it anymore, but I've still got all the components just in case I do need to use it one day. So I can bolt
Crazy,
it all
man.
together if I had to.
Crazy. It's just crazy turning. I give you credit for that, man. You've done some crazy turnings.
Well, that's what I do for a living. So
I dare say that if that came off the lathe, there ain't no face mask that would help you.
no, definitely not. But by jeez, I can tell you what, man, can I sprint?
I bet.
Don't you have to anchor it to the floor?
Yeah, it is anchored. It's bolted down to the floor.
You've never seen his big lathe, have you, Paul? The
No,
40-footer?
No.
You got any pictures of it, Robo?
No, not really. No. Although
Well,
the
I tell
last,
people about it, and I always get these looks of skepticism. And I was
You
that
got the-
way until you showed it one day. And it
You
was
Don't
showed
look
a
on-
video.
Go and look on Robbo's personal page. He's shared a memory, and it's that lathe.
yeah,
Right.
on the Facebook page, there's a
Yeah.
thing there of it.
He showed it to me one night. I can't remember if it was a picture or if he was in the shop or
There was
what
a
was going
video
on, but-
that you showed, Robo.
Yeah,
A real quick one.
yeah. I'll see if I can find it. Wait on, I'll be back in a second. Where do I stick it?
I remember that I did see it because I can remember being like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, because I think in the video, I think your project was half in the shop and half out the back wall because Henry goes all the way through the wall or something.
Yeah, I had to cut a hole in the wall to put the headstock in.
Yeah,
Wow.
takes a gantry crane to load it too, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's not something a married man would like to talk about buying in front of his wife. How big a lathe and what's that going to cost?
Well,
Costs more than the house they live in.
if you're lucky,
Yeah,
it
more
doesn't.
than the house, the car.
If you're lucky, it doesn't cost you anything.
But you have to own it in order to make the money using it. That's the thing.
Well,
It's the chicken and the egg.
You know, you get somebody that wants something made, and you can't make it without a big ass lathe. You know,
Right? But
They'll-
then you don't make any money on the deal. You just hope you can sell other items made off of it later.
I disagree because then you charge them for the lathe, and then you charge them for the work.
Right, but
that's
you still have to make money afterwards using it.
Henry has paid for itself at least 20 times over.
Jay pays for his work just by looking pretty.
But Jay or the lathe?
Jay.
Oh, come on, you mongrel.
That'd be an interesting contest. Which continent has the biggest lathe? That's for hand turning.
I don't know. I think Australia would win so far.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
never.
no. Mine's one of the longest single bed lathes that I know of. There used to be another one in the dockyards that was 80 feet long. It was for turning ships masts, and it was actually a
yes.
it was a big red gum log,
Yeah.
and they used to virtually screw the tailstock and the headstock down where they wanted it along the top. They planed the top of the log flat and did it that way and used remote rest on it. And unfortunately, it got tended out and cut up for firewood.
There is yes, there is a big lathe. I've seen it. It's, I think, in the dockyards in Baltimore,
Yeah, there's one
Maryland,
there too.
because it's a ship's one. It was made. It's an original that was found somewhere and moved there as part of our national museum that we have there on ships. But it was designed for doing the big ship's masts. And it still runs, but they joke
Yep.
that it dims the lights when they turn it on. And then a behind the scenes talk by the Park Service is, well, it's safe completely because it's a computer circuit that dims the lights to give you the sensation it would have made. And it even dims the lights a little bit in the parking lot outside of the shop. And it really does take a lot of power. It's like a 10 horsepower electric motor that drives it now, but it used to be water driven.
Unfortunately, this is a Facebook link, so
I knew you'd take me there.
no, I haven't got it anywhere else.
No, that's fine.
You can just play the video and do the share screen.
Well, I could, yeah.
That's fine. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah, that way everyone can see it.
Look at that fly. Get that
I
fly.
was gonna
Dave.
say,
Well, all right.
he's got
well, why
bugs coming out of his wood again.
don't- all right.
My wife still talks. Ida still talks about that.
She likes bugs in wood.
Yeah, she tripped out when she seen that come out.
Yeah, I've had it happen
Okay.
too many times.
I'm in the
There.
I'm in the background there.
Yep.
Right?
Can you make that
why
video?
not? It hasn't come off. Hasn't come up.
Oh, there it is.
The big one.
Yeah. Going on.
Are them rollers on the lathe bed?
You can't click on anything else when you're showing that video, Robbo.
No. Sorry about
If you
that.
go to the bottom right-hand corner of that video, there should be a enlarge button so you can make it full
Yeah,
screen.
them two arrows pointing at each other.
Must be all twisted.
Okay, then we're steady rest. I thought,
just-
damn, he's got
Come on,
rollers
you
on his bed.
mongrel, bloody get larger.
It's freaking. I can see it's freaking your system out.
Yeah.
Doing too many things at once.
Yeah, better just go into the link, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Right.
I'll can that.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that, folks.
Still, we got to see it. That's one hell of a wave.
Yeah.
Kick
need
from
a sponsor.
studio. Mm.
You could
Robo, you ought to
easily make
sponsor a
100.
turnathon, and different wood turners get a 5-foot section of the lathe to turn something in, and they have to turn it all at once.
No, we actually had 2 clubs down once and about 20 turners, and we turned a totem pole for one of the parks here, and everybody had a go. But it was rather interesting, the amount of people that are absolutely terrified when that much timber's spinning around in front of them. Me, I just walk up to it like turning anything else, except it's longer. But I must admit, the initial, there's a name for it, they call it these days, risk analysis that goes on in my head is phenomenal.
Oh, I bet. But you know, I have to tell you, man, you could probably turn 1,000 ink pens on that in one go.
Sorry?
I said you could probably turn 1,000 ink pens in one go on that thing.
He's got to find it first.
Using an ore-sized carbide tools.
Yeah.
They're picking on me, Paul.
Pardon?
They're picking on me.
Yeah.
That would be the Robbo Robertson Carbide 1000.
Made for making pens only. Oh.
The joke, Paul, is that he won't turn pens and he hates carbide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. No.
The only place that he will justify using carbides is in hollowing tools.
Yeah.
Other than that, he thinks they're traditional tools only.
Actually, I know why he don't like them, and the reason why he don't like them isn't because of the carbides, and it isn't because of pens. It's because new turners will come and they'll turn a pen with a carbide, and then they're a master turner all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's it. No, they hang out their shingle, they get a card, they get their brands and everything, and suddenly they're master turners.
Yeah.
So I just like to pick on Robo about it. It's just become a running joke.
Yeah.
That
And
Robo
then I
likes.
stick with it too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Robo. I'm sorry.
If you didn't hang it on me, Dark, I'd think you're upset with me.
Oh, I love you, man. I could be upset with you long. Yeah. And besides, you give me so much material to work with. You and Jay. I mean, usually I have to search for someone to pick on. It could have been worse. I could have hung it on you like I did David, and everything would have been your fault.
Is it still David's fault, is it?
It will always be David's fault.
Okay.
I usually get that anyway.
Because
It's
we love
Robbo's
him
fault.
so much. David's a cool dude, man, and I wish he had a YouTube channel and would show how he, show himself working. He'd do phenomenally on YouTube because the art that he does, and it truly is art. Because he'll turn a bowl, and then he'll only have a little bowl in the center, but it'll be a bowl about that big around. But it's like a cross between a platter and a bowl, and then he'll airbrush pictures on the top of that flat, the top rim part of the bowl, which is probably that thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and he just does beautiful work. And I'm not a big sponsor of people who paint wood, but I guess to each their own. Some people like painting wood. I don't have nothing against it. I mean, if that's what you like, but personally, I think it's sad to see a beautiful piece of wood be covered up by paint.
Oh yeah.
You don't like some of mine then?
Well,
Oh,
for
I
me,
mean, some people like it, and that's fine. You know, I mean, I'm not downgrading nobody for it.
Like,
For me, it
one
depends on
thing
the.
that
it's funny how the world works. Like, we don't get English ash out here, and yet I see a lot of people in England turning English ash, and it's a nice looking timber, particularly if you get fiddleback or something in it.
Yeah.
And then they go and paint it. But to the English or over that side, it's a bland timber because it's got nothing for it. So I don't mind them painting that sort of thing, but when it's got good figure and good colour, leave it alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
amen.
Yeah, I mean, with my coloured stuff, I look for the plainer timbers, either ash or sycamore or something like that. Possibly even lime. But yeah, with a nice bit of wood with good sort of grain and figure or whatever, then yeah, just
Like the
yeah,
first decorated bowl I saw was by Mick O'Donnell, and that's going back nearly 40 years now.
yeah,
And his wife is an excellent artist, and what they used to do was turn a bowl, and then he'd put he lived on the Scottish coast, and he'd put an Arctic tern. His wife would paint an Arctic tern or something with the wings spreading around the rim of the bowl, and he did that because the timber was so bland that he was using that it needed something to give it a lift so as he could sell it. Now that I agree with, but to decorate just for the sake of decorating, no, you might as well do MDF as far as I'm concerned.
yeah.
Well, you know, I don't mind it so much if it's like what David's doing. You know, David is actually doing really artistic stuff on the top of the bowl. You know, where the end grain of it. You know, where most people would just cut that away, and these are just for I guess I would imagine putting on a shelf and looking at for the most part. But yeah, just beautiful work. Now he'll use pretty wood to do that with. But what I'm talking about is the people who will take a nice piece of dark walnut or something and then paint it black. Just to paint it. You know what I mean? And then well, you know, then they'll put them you know, balloon. I forget what they call it. They use a balloon and they dip the paint in it, or they pull string art it, you know, and yeah, that's pretty. It is pretty, but man, you could have used a cheap piece of pine for that.
That's right. If you really want to see this bloke, I really do admire, and his pieces are stunning. I'll just put a link in there now. Just go and have a look at some of that work.
Well,
Why
years
is it a
ago,
picture? Why is it a picture of Jay in a Speedo?
years ago, I was lucky to take a week class under Bin Po, if you remember him. And he was fantastic. He had, you know, it was not just painting, and it was the ability to use the dentist drills that he was using at the time and it wasn't carving, it was cutting out all the patterns. And while I was able to spend the week class, and I attended two of them. First at a big symposium in Chicago area woodturners do one every 2 years. And he appeared there, and then I got addicted, and I went up to Wisconsin and took his class. But the interesting thing is that they had a major movie made about him as a kid. And it was kind of, he never talked about it much, except if you brought it up. And then he had part of his a den of which had all these movie clippings and stuff, because he was a young boy trying to get out of Vietnam, and a photographer took pity on him and helped him escape the last days in the Vietnamese War, and all the trials and tribulations, and ending up adrift for a while and then being picked up. And it's I remember in AAW, American Association of Woodturners, conference that we had, I think it was in Pittsburgh. He was honored highly with, of course, a lifetime achievement and this and that awards. And he was still a meek and modest person.
Yeah.
He was really quite an individual. And I was very pleased to being able to call him a friend. And I had 2 or 3 times in my life we'd cross paths and be able to spend time to have dinner and talk.
Sarge, is that your lot making that row?
What's that?
Is that your lot making that noise?
Oh yeah. It's bedtime and they're all wound up still.
Yeah, you're right, Robert. That his stuff is absolutely phenomenal. Another person I really like a lot of his pieces too is Nick Agar.
Yes.
He does a lot of brilliant work as well.
That'd be really, really crazy, man. I mean, there's lots of work in that involved. You're there. He's just that damn good.
I've actually watched him. He did a couple of demos over a few years ago. This is Gordon Pemberton, and yeah, his attention to detail is astronomical.
Yeah.
And I did a course with Nick Agar as well. I ended up actually helping him because we turned the same. So, but his use of colours and things is very, very good.
Yeah, that's one thing I ain't never been real great at is painting. And
Me neither. I got the colour sense of a gnat, I'm afraid.
I can get the colors. The colors aren't the problem. It's the actual painting part. I'm not no good at it, you know.
Well, the airbrush, that's the only thing that I can do. My sister's a restorationist, professional painting restorationist for painters who's done work for the Vatican even on certain artists, the way they have done some old paintings, and she's taught art restoration. That's her business, though it's not doesn't have as many clients, especially now, nothing. And she's taken the same talents and does cake decorating as an old master would or whatever. And she does really good on some of her cakes. And I was surprised to find out there's no cake in the cakes. They're all cake dummies. That way they don't go bad and they can sit out and display. But,
Yeah.
I was surprised to find out that some of them cakes, like people order for their weddings and stuff, is the top cake itself is the only cake that's real.
Right.
Yep.
And the rest are cake dummies.
Yeah.
You buy them and then they still have the same coatings, and the decorations are identical, but you just can't eat them. Well, you can, but it's hard. It's harder than candy.
Robert, I don't think that Derek Wiedemann is on the same planet as us by the look of that. Either that or he's smoking something really good.
Oh, beautiful work though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definite imagination there.
Yeah. But Trisket painting, on wood, that was Ben Poe. I mean, he used Friskets all the time, and now the liquid Frisket that's available in a bottle, so you can put it on, and that's where I got that stuff, be able to do it. But I just, with my problem with my vision, because my eyes don't work together, I could only use one or the other. It's been that way since birth. At one time, I could look both ways at one time, and that posed a serious problem. I couldn't walk without a patch on.
Almost
But
looks
that
like
was fixed.
tribal art.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy stuff, man.
No, I
Crazy.
used to do a lot of plates and things for toll painters or folk art painting, and we always made them out of MDF because they were just being painted over anyway, so it didn't matter.
Right. Yeah. Here in Michigan, I say here in Michigan, it might be other places too, but basically the go-to junk wood here is pine. You know,
It is out. It's classed as junk wood out here too, but I've put 2 kids through university on pine, so I don't mind admitting it. I love the stuff.
Oh, it's good wood. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's great for what it is, but I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the pitch that's in it and how stringy it is and whatnot. It's not good for much, but building materials and stuff like that.
Well, I look at it this way: it sucks up water, it needs sunshine. It's got, to correct somebody that picked me up on it once before, it's got needles, not leaves, but it's got needles. It sets off CO2, and it's readily available, and it's not allergenic as far as I can work out. Like, I've never heard of anybody having an allergy to pine, so
No, I haven't either.
Can't think of anybody that I can think of that ever did. You know, unless they had a reaction to the sap in it or something, but I'd never heard of it.
no, most of the stuff we use is all kiln dried. It's a very popular construction timber out here.
Well, you know, you got 2 types of pine. Some of them put off that sappy
Oh, yeah.
resin, and then there's some that don't. So,
I think the worst thing that ever happened was we'd laminated up some posts out of pine once, and I hit a sap pocket, and it was still liquid, and I had a bloody lovely resin streak right down my face shield there, down my jacket. My hands were covered in resin, the tools were covered in resin, and the tool rests and everything else. And it took ages to clean it all off.
oh yeah, I know how that is. See the wood or the bushcrafters, they like that resin infused pine wood. They call it fat wood, and they use it for starting fires.
Yeah.
It'll burn like crazy. But
Oh, yeah.
you know, I've turned a couple of ferro rod handles out of that stuff, man, and talk about a mess, man. It gums up your tools, it dulls them, it's sticky and hard to clean up. Sticks to everything.
The biggest problem with burning pine out here is that it pitches up the chimney. It puts a layer of flammable material up the chimney, and most
Creosote.
Creosote.
most chimney fires are caused by people burning pine in them.
Well, the bushcrafters don't use it like that. They use it just to start it, like kindling.
Yeah,
But they're using small amounts of it, like shavings.
Yeah.
And they use it for the ferro rods, which is it's like a rod that it's like flint, and when you scrape it, it'll throw sparks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got one around here somewhere.
Oh, like a flint and steel.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
A firelighter, yeah.
Oh man, let me think where I got one at.
But we use a lot of pine in building.
Oh, let's see if I
Oh, we've got thousands and thousands of acres of pine plantations over here in Australia.
It grows quick and it's a stable wood when it's dried.
God, geez, when you're like that dark, you look like a horse.
Well, we can tell you didn't miss any buckets of oats.
Now that's a knife.
Yeah, Bowie knife.
It's a wall hanger.
Well, Bowie or Bridger. Bridger had a knife, but I'm not a knife specialist, but I know Jim Bridger had a knife similar, but the surface was different in pattern over Bowie.
This is my favorite knife. And that one's actually got the ridge on it for striking ferro rods. See, it's a matching set.
Uh-huh.
I got one in here. I know I do. Somewhere.
Geez, it's crook. It's crook when you got to go through the garbage, Doc.
What?
It's crook when you got to go through the garbage.
Garbage. Here's one.
Oh yeah. Now don't you set fire to the bloody house.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, there goes his bloody house.
Yeah. Yeah, that would do it too. Would do it quick too.
Elbow cam by dark.
Oh, I
That
know.
sounds like a candle.
Look at this set. I don't know how well you're seeing it, but
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
given to me by my buddy Red. Redneck Renegade sent me that set. It's the same thing, just different handles. I don't have any that I made. Well, I do have one I made. Yeah, I'll show you one. I'll show you mine.
No, we
If you
ain't
show
gonna
me
send
yours,
any
I'll show you
wires.
mine.
You'll love it. You just take it all in.
Well,
was
when
it
you
on?
said red, being a Michigander, I thought you were talking about red green.
That was one of my first.
You can
wood
remind me
carving.
of red green.
Mhm.
God, that looks like me on a bad day.
Which side?
Both.
Yeah, that was one of my first wood carvings. I did that with my Harbor Freight carving and grinding Dremel thingy. I love that thing. You know,
No.
they can talk bad about Harbor Freight tools all they want. I've never had an issue with them. Just because they don't have a name brand doesn't hurt my feelings.
So they're going up in price too because they're getting better grades. Because now the industrial trades people are buying them. So they've got an industrial with a 3-year guarantee and 2 years on batteries for the industrial. That's pretty good.
Girls will like that.
Yeah, so they can put it in their bandsaw, battery-powered bandsaw.
No, they got
Yeah.
battery operated boyfriend.
That'd be a real cut-up then. You got to get rid of the
naughty.
body of the first husband somehow.
You know, I used to be a perfect angel until I met you guys.
Oh, yeah. Blame us.
Yeah.
But-
West Michigan.
But
you
on
expect-
that subject, I had 2 women that worked for me, Christine and another young lady. Now, Christine used to love sanding tabletops, and we used a random orbital sander. Yeah, and
Red green.
I often wondered why she leant against the tables when she sanded them. It was the vibrations coming through the tables. She used to love it.
Buffalo wings, man. Buffalo wings. Why, do I got some orange stuff in my beard or something?
No, probably the color of your mo.
Oh, that's probably coffee stained. But I was eating buffalo hot wings earlier, so
Now there's my knife, Dark. That's the one I carry around.
That's a knife.
I carry this around with me everywhere.
Yep, it's more useful than either one I showed.
Oh yeah.
The ones I showed, man, sit in a box.
I must admit, I've gone out without it, and I suffer withdrawal symptoms, and I have to go into a sporting goods shop or something and buy one.
Yeah,
it's pathetic, with all these knives nowadays. They could be as sharp and as can be, and they can cut stuff, but they're just not as practical as a good old Swiss Army knife or
one of those old timer pen knives.
Mm-hmm.
Them little old timer pen knives. Them are beautiful carving knives. Chip carving.
I probably use a screwdriver on that one 2 or 3 times a day, funnily enough, for various things. It's always in my pocket, so.
Actually, I had to use it on a meter box one time because my regular screwdrivers were too big to get one of the screws out.
Yeah.
I got one of those around here too. I don't carry a knife usually, so all my knives are carving knives and stuff. So I don't carry them around with me, but I do have a Swiss Army knife around here in a box somewhere.
I'll be back in a minute, folks. I've got to go and close some doors. It's raining like hell here.
Paul, do you carry a pocket knife? Is that something typical where you're at?
Not usually, no. Only if I think I need one, but not routinely, no.
The little pocket knives that have screwdrivers, the 7-in-1.
Yeah, I've got one on my key ring, so if I've got my bunch of keys with me, I've got one. Just a little, probably 2-inch blade on it or something.
Yeah, that's about all I ever carry.
Yeah,
I don't need any more than that. I used to have people come up and say, "Oh, but if you get attacked, then what?" I said, "Don't worry. That 2-inch will take a carotid very quickly." Say, what's that? Well, that's what we were trained in the military.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't carry one.
But I mean, it's not a defensive weapon. We shouldn't have to have defensive weapons.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we needed defensive weapons, we just carry a K-bar with us.
Just carry your skew. It's legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the laws here are you can't carry more than a 3-inch blade.
Yeah, same here.
It then becomes an offensive weapon.
Yeah, but if you carry a skew, you're not carrying a blade, you're carrying a tool.
Yeah.
They ask you why you're walking down the road with it, just be like, I'm going to my buddy's house and he's going to sharpen it for me.
Yeah.
But the edge on it isn't over 3 inches, except Robo's.
Doesn't he use a shovel, Bo? He uses a shovel as a skew, don't he?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I've got bigger knives. If I go fishing, for example, I'll take a knife with probably a 6-inch blade. I'll use it, cutting up fish and things like that, filleting fish, and but that's in my sort of box of tackle. I don't carry it on me.
Yeah. I have found that that's something I've never really needed for defense.
A shovel?
Oh, I've used that. I used that to stop a long time ago. guy was robbing a store, and he kind of fell because the back of a shovel hit him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, boy.
And at the time, I was only 15. He was robbing the candy store at the corner. And I was busy shoveling snow, and he had got in the back door. And I'll tell you, he heard some noise outside, and I swung. I didn't mean to hit the back of his head, but I don't know how many stitches they had. But the police, when they came and they said, "Well, you did this," well, you were robbing the candy store and the soda fountain. And my job is to shovel their walks. That way I get free drinks, free sodas and pop.
Yeah.
And that's back in the days when you sat at the soda fountain in a wire stool, and they served you in the tall glasses still. But
Yeah, these days, Robert. These days, Bob, you'd be sued because of it.
Yeah, you would.
oh, I know.
I like there's a video on it.
Policeman took the report that I was shaking it at him, and he lunged, and I moved and slipped and fell on the ice. That's how it was written up.
Yeah.
Now, there's a video going around at the moment on Facebook where a bloke's fleeing a robbery scene, and the bloke opens the car door and floors him. I thought that was pretty cool.
But as Sarge
I
can
don't-
tell you, there's a lot of ways that you learn in the military to handle people that attack you.
Oh yeah.
And don't have any evidence left.
Yep.
Stick with a good old industrial wood chipper.
Oh, that's getting rid of the evidence.
Yeah. Not only do you get rid of the evidence, you feed the fish.
Yeah. Problem is cleaning up the mess afterwards.
That's why you just go get a crackhead to rent the tool for you.
Hey, I seen on Facebook where somebody had a red chipper, an industrial tow behind chipper, and they painted it white, but where they had chunked in the wood, it had peeled the white off, so all left was the red marks and everything in the chute. How'd you like to come up behind a wood chipper and see that?
Probably ask him if I could borrow it for a few days.
Oh, not for your mother-in-law.
No, that's just a joke. Actually, she's a very sweet woman, and I love her. But yeah.
But before wood chippers, the joke when I was in Nam was, "You've always got the intake of the jet engine over there."
Yeah, that would do it.
It's
I seen-
just to kind
I
of
seen
flip it. When I was in engine school, we actually watched a video of a Navy guy on the carrier. He was fixing to launch a plane that was on the catapult, and when they get ready to launch the fast movers, they have to max out the power on the aircraft.
Yep.
And before it launched off, he got sucked up in the intake. The only thing that saved him was a flashlight. Maglite was the only thing that saved him.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't
Yeah,
his
Plane-
time.
I bet the plane didn't take off.
No.
No.
Nope. Nope. And it was all on video too.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough to think, but then when you see him
well-
slide back out of there and you see this flashlight fall to the ground and it's still lit.
Maglites, especially the older ones, were tough things, man.
Oh yeah, that was what we used for all of our tools.
Yeah, they were a good weapon too.
Mhm.
Heck yeah, they were.
Yeah, the
I had one
military
that-
police. The military police used to use them,
Mhm.
and they quite often got used as a little short baton occasionally, I think.
Oh yeah, they used them like batons,
Yeah.
like the hickory batons, but they were aluminum instead.
Remember the old ones that took the D batteries and they were about a foot long?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the 2D batteries. You got to see the one that had the 4Ds. Holy
Yeah.
smokes, man, that was like a cane.
That
Right.
was like loading a bloody shotgun.
Yeah.
I still got one here in
Yeah, I
my
do
shop. Yeah, because it's something that I had bottled quite a few years ago. And, as a novelty, it was supposed to be for an award for someone, and it just didn't work out that way. The person passed away beforehand, so I kept it.
Right.
Did you serve, Paul?
No. No, never did.
Kind of when I was in England, I always got a kick out of the British military. They were always there with being friendly, politeful, and always were willing to buy a yank a tankard.
Hmm.
But I was stationed at the embassy in London, a place that I get lost constantly on the buses and the underground. So we had transportation supplied back to our billet.
So you got lost in the tubes?
Yeah, I had not seen a map system that was so crazy. To get from here to here, you often had to go that way first in order to get something to go here. And I understand it's the oldest, underground there is that's still in existence. And I understand that the city's kind of built on a lot of wooden pylons over the years, and it has a lot of fallout shelters under London streets. But still, it was very confusing, and I was only there for 7 months doing some training. But I'd already been out of Vietnam then. It was just enough to take my service time so I could get out. So that was a nice place. What do you want to go to have some fun? Where do you want to go? And I'd not been to England. I had been to Australia for R&R once. And there it was all right, yeah, but I don't remember a lot of it because we were in pubs. I just could not drink an Aussie under the table. I tried too many times and failed.
Jay, what are you doing back there? I see you back there doing something, you pervert.
He's hiding.
Yeah, he was doing something naughty.
But I don't quite understand, Paul. I used to told to ask for a pint, but it wasn't a pint measurement.
Yeah, he's been destroying a body, see?
Oh, I get it now. I know why we can't see what he's doing. He's getting rid of the evidence.
That's why he's muted, so as we can't hear the chainsaw.
Hey, Jay, how's the wife?
Where's Amber? Amber.
It's the birds
Oh,
outside. That's dinner tomorrow
She's
for him.
She's decided to stay at home in the hole that I've dug for her. See?
Oh,
That's like the joke going around with COVID, where girlfriend's talking to one girlfriend in the kitchen and said, "Oh, where's your husband?" "Oh, he's out the back." "Oh, I went out there and couldn't find him anywhere." "Oh, you just got to dig a bit deeper, that's all."
oh. So are you going to do live from Robo's tomorrow night, Jay?
It's supposed to be on the road tomorrow.
No, what Jay and I were discussing it before, and what I'll probably do is set up the live stream my StreamYard. When Jay can get in, he'll just come in on his travels to give us a bit of a travel log. So I'll put the link up in the group one. So if you want to come in, probably from 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, which I'm not sure what time it is for you lot, but it'll be live until he gets here, so he can interject, because there's not good internet coverage from Adelaide to Melbourne all the way.
So we're going to have a tour guide when you have internet.
Yeah, that's right.
And then when it'll be about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning here. I'm going to do a live, but Robbo will be asleep, so I'm just going to do it. I might just do it straight on YouTube, because I don't have StreamYard on my phone, and I can't seem to find the app for StreamYard. It doesn't exist anymore. So
There isn't one.
There was. I used to have it on my phone.
Yet StreamYard, you can bring it up. It's done through a browser.
Yeah, I know, but I used to have it on my phone, Dr. Bob. That's all. I just thought I could download it again, and it'll be easier.
Well, I just open the browser and log into StreamYard.com here.
Yeah.
And
But while
all.
I'm mobile, I'm not going to, because it wrecks mobiles basically. Everyone that's come on a mobile and a wireless feed has been glitchy, and so I'm just going to do a quick live, straight YouTube. No StreamYard. It'll mostly only be for about 10 minutes while we stop and refuel and stretch our legs and stuff.
Yeah,
The last stop for us before we go to Victoria is a town called Tailem Bend. So that's where we'll fill up the rest of the fuel, whatever we used going between my house and there. It's about an hour and a half drive, and then after that it's straight on to a town called Horsham, which is in Victoria.
Chris has said there's no app anymore.
Yeah. Now there's guides to show you how to use the app, but there's no app. It's like,
No. You just have to. All you need is a Chrome browser.
Yeah.
That's it. It has to be a Chrome browser.
Yeah, I want to take my laptop to Robbo's house so I can go on from there. But
How long of a drive is it there?
9 hours.
9 hours? Holy smokes. That's like driving from here to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Well, I regularly travel 3,000 kilometres to go to a wood turning event every year, and that's 28 hours.
Screw that. I drive across town and I'm tired. I don't want to drive no more.
I love driving.
There you go, Sarge. You can look up Horsham.
Horsham?
Yeah.
Horsham, yeah.
You showed me a picture of the route we were taking, and now you can have a look at one of the stops we're taking. It's quite a decent sized town, so that's about 350 k's away from about Tailem Bend where we first stopped. So we're going to stop there and top the fuel tank back up and nosy on. Do another live there for 10 minutes or something.
How long to drive across Australia? Well, I go from Melbourne. Now, bear in mind that I used to drive semi-trailers, so, and I love sitting behind the wheel. I can sit behind the wheel for hours and hours and hours. And the last time it took me 3 days to go from Melbourne across to Perth. Now, most people take a week or more, but I'll do 3 to at least 1,000 to 1,400 kilometres a day. I can just sit there. It's the only thing I can still do that I could do when I was 20 years old. So.
Yeah, people, I don't know why it is, other than it's the education system that we seem to have, is that people just don't understand how big Australia is, or other countries as compared to each other, because they use Decatur maps.
Yeah.
And that poses a problem. I remember way back when I worked at the University of Alaska, our head of our Federal Communications Division was an idiot. Ben Waffle was his name. I was trying to help, because of where I was at the university, to put in some low power TV transmitters in villages. And we filled out all the paperwork. And it's about 4 inches worth with all the information as to what's around you, what communities, how far away they are, population, and they're forms. So we sometimes have like 15 pages of blank forms saying that what the distance was, because this guy refused the licenses because they were too close together, because he used the Decatur map. And that's, it's like saying that, the state's about that big. He said, I could put all of Virginia on top of Alaska.
That's come up well, Joe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome job.
Yeah, because everyone was off watching and looking at other links when I finished it, and nobody said nothing. So I just assumed that nobody was watching, so I didn't say anything.
No, I seen you pop it off.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of yellow. It's naturally in the wood. I'm not too sure if you can see it going down there.
Yep.
It's quite weird, the yellow that runs through it. And then I did that to the bottom, just because I can.
I was gonna say I was looking for it to be on the inside.
Nah, just on the bottom. And now I've got something to eat my eggs out of at Robbo's house. You see?
Who says you're getting any?
Pardon me.
Randy, it's forage for yourself,
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's easy to chuck some eggs in a pot and boil them.
I must admit, one of my favourite snacks is hard-boiled eggs.
That's my breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
If I don't have it, I feel like shit. If I have something different, so 2 eggs it is.
I must admit, if I have breakfast, I feel like crap. So no, that comes from
if I
working
don't eat
on
breakfast, I feel like crap.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think it comes from when I used to help my uncles and things on dairy farms. We'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, have a cup of tea, go and milk 250 to 300 cows and get back at 8 o'clock and then have breakfast. So I'd done 4 hours work by then.
Sorry, Robbo.
Poke it out again, Dark.
Trim his beard.
Right, I think I've got to go. Bedtime for me.
Yeah. Morning, Paul.
Paul, thanks for coming
It
in.
is morning.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cheers,
Paul.
time.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Yep. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, it was good. I'll see you next time. And
No worries.
See you Tuesday.
yeah, or even over the weekend, depends.
Okay, I'm talking about your Tuesday program.
Oh yeah, that'll be on Tuesday as normal. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Can see my heartbeat?
But anytime, jump in.
Yep.
You're always welcome here.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Take care.
See ya.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Itchy face.
Mhm.
Sorry, Dark.
Or I can get right up your nostrils there, Dark.
I guess it helps when you turn the mic on.
It's
We
one
like
way
it
to
better
hear
when you
'em.
were quiet. You just make it the patience.
Or the old Marx Brothers, Three Stooges trick,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dark
that's it.
keeps putting himself on mute. I don't know why.
You know, it's funny that you can do that on here, unmute the mic, because like on Google Hangouts, when they had Google Hangouts Live, you can
Yeah.
mute people, but you couldn't unmute them.
Oh, yeah.
They had to unmute themselves. We used to do it to people for fun. Kind of like what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they wouldn't realize it, and you couldn't unmute them. So you had to tell them, hey, you're muted.
Hey, Doc, you're muted.
I see your lips moving, but there ain't no noise.
Well, I think I'm going to call it a night too.
Yeah, all right, then, Sarge.
Right, Sarge.
See y'all later.
I'll
Thanks
be
for coming
watching
in.
you sleep.
I'll try to pop in tomorrow night.
All right, watch
Figure
out
what,
for
what
Doc.
kind of chaos. What kind of
Have a look
chaos is going
outside
on?
your window in about 10 minutes for dark, all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
It'd be a soggy dark.
I have raid gear.
He's got
Is there-
something. Exit stage left. Dark.
Yes.
Oh, you can keep drinking.
Thank you.
Dark. Stop. Wait. There's something in the bottom of that can. Look at it. Oh, did you see that?
Yeah.
It made him look at least.
There is something, an expiration date.
Hey, when Robbo gets his mug from us, you'll like it. You'll have a good laugh. It's quite amusing. I don't know if Robbo will find it funny, but I did.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He's pretty good sported.
I'm easily amused.
Mm.
You're
And
still here, aren't you?
You must be. You hang out with us.
That's right.
but this could be a form of secret escapism.
No, it just reminds me what the rest of life is like, that it's quite sane and normal.
Robo, did you turn your cigarette holder, or is that store bought?
No, actually, it's the stem out of a pen.
You got him, Dark. Well done, Dark. 10 points.
Oh,
That wasn't my intention.
I thought that's what I think of pens. You see,
Oh, hey, any port in
he
the
smokes
storm.
pens.
no, the plastic
pen
covering on a
smoker.
pen, the plastic covering of a pen that I had just happened to be the right size to fit the cigarettes in. So that's what I used. I used to have a couple of store-bought holders, but they seem to have disappeared over the years. So
I was just wondering. I turned one for a friend year ago, something like that, and she wanted one, and so I turned her one out of plum wood, I think it was. But it turned out beautiful. But plum wood, it cracks. It's just notorious for cracking.
all fruit woods are.
Probably should have used a different type of wood, but it didn't crack or anything as far as I know. So she loved it, and I was just curious if you had done the same thing.
No, I did think of turning one, but I thought, nah, I'll search around, and I found a pen that was the right size, so I chopped it up and used that.
What I did was I turned a piece of plum wood about that long, put the hole in it, and then I, on one end of it, I drilled it for the cigarette itself, and then the other end of it, I drilled it so that you could stick a pipe tip in it.
Pipe cleaner in it, yeah.
A pipe tip,
Yeah.
The mouthpiece.
Yep.
For it, and it looked beautiful. I got a picture of it on Instagram somewhere.
I actually thought about getting one about, like the Salvador Dali one, about 18 inches long. I reckon I could look really good sitting there and have the cigarette right up against the camera like that.
Actually, you know what you could do is you could go on Amazon or something. I don't know if you guys got Amazon over there. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
But they sell them really long, like church warden pipe tip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Get one of those and just turn a piece of wood long enough to put your cigarette tip in it and stick that in there and put them two pieces together. And well, I imagine you could probably just use the tip off the church warden pipe tip. I think that would probably work just as well, just by itself, if it was the same diameter as your cigarette. And if not, I'm sure you could drill it to be.
Oh, that's right.
Well, for a stage play years ago, I was helping, and they had to have these long cigarette holders, but they wanted them classy and shiny out of metal. And I just got some brass pipe, very thin brass pipe, and you can turn brass, and add a little bit of trim to each end of it, and polish the thing up, and then they simply put a mouthpiece on it, and they had this 2-foot long cigarette holder.
We had a heap of them. We had a heap of them for the Merry Widow.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would want one that long, to be honest. But
sorry.
So I'm not exactly sure why anybody would want one that long, and unless, of course, it was to hold pipe filters or something.
They were all the rage in the 1930s.
Oh, yeah, so, I wasn't around then.
They cooled the smoke down.
This is what I use paper towel for.
Oh, you dirty rascal! Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what, man. You can use that paper towel for doing that all you want. The blue ones work much better. They don't hurt as bad.
We came back all the way around an hour later to blue paper towels.
No, 2.5 hours later.
Yeah. I hope I didn't hurt Bailey's feelings.
I don't think so. I think he's probably still in the background anyway.
He's such a pretty boy. I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings.
No. It's like carbides. It's to each their own.
Right? Yeah.
But
I understand it. I get it, because I mean most of your buffing pads are terry cloths.
Yep, exactly.
So I mean, in that respect, you guys are right. The terry cloths will leave a better finish. They'll buff it out. But personally, I think they're dangerous. And that's only because I got one caught up in the lathe and got the crap beat on my hands by it. I imagine, when you're turning a pen like Robo's, though, and it's almost as big as you are, you don't have to worry about that too much.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
What did it remind you of being back at school getting the cuts, did it?
Oh, man. It wasn't fun. I tell you, it only lasted for, long enough for me to pull my hand away, but that couple times it whacked me was a good reminder not to do it again.
Well, the first time's an accident, the second time's stupidity,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I mean, once something like that happens to you, it makes you leery to try again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose to a certain extent. I must admit, it takes a lot to frighten hell out of me on the turning side. Like I had a big bowl, or it was a canister, actually 12 inches across and 12 inches deep. and it actually shattered. And
Mm.
the actual safety glasses did more damage to me than if I'd just been hit with a piece of wood. Because what happened was the safety glasses got hit right at the bridge of my nose here, and cut me across the eye here. And then, but the worst part was, the arms actually cut my ears. Like it took a 1/4 inch slice out of the top of my ears where they joined my head. And of course, with the beard, I had blood running all down my beard. It was a Saturday afternoon. Julie was home. And I walked inside, and of course, being typical wife, she freaked out, thought I'd cut my head off. And I said, it's all right, it's all right. I said, just make a cup of tea. I'll be going out there and I'll get in a minute. So I cleaned myself up, went out and picked up the biggest chisel I could find and beat the bastard to death. And it made a lovely breadboard. So,
Yeah, there you go.
but no, I've never really had a bad accident on the lathe. But like I said before, I do 1,000,001 risk analysis in my head long before I start a job, because I know what can happen.
Yeah, well, my lathe, I can stop with my hand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't want to try it, but I mean, if I had to, it would, if I got caught up in it, it would stop.
Yeah, yeah.
The bigger lathes, I don't know about, I use
I don't.
one of the bigger lathes, and and I'm not talking about a lathe like yours. I'm talking about just the regular lathes.
Yeah. No, I can pull up a 1 horsepower. I don't know that I'd like to try a 3 horsepower one. I reckon that'd pick me up and spit me out,
Yeah, no way. Not.
And
I've
all
got
my
a
big
3 on my lathe, and
and
I've had it
all
burn
my-
a belt.
yeah,
But it wouldn't
all my
stop.
big lathes are 3 horsepower. So, and the big Wadkin, that's 3 Clydesdales, not pit ponies, But the problem with the variable speeds is that, all right, the motor's rated at 3 horsepower, but it's not actually putting out 3 horsepower. So, because the variable speed takes a lot of the torque out of them.
Jay's got a boogie.
Did you see it? I couldn't find it.
I've seen that boogie. It's way up there. You got to reach back.
Oh.
Get up there to your wrist. Just, yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to get caught up in a bigger lathe. I wouldn't want to get caught up in my little lathe, to be honest with you. But
Well, you try to avoid it if you can.
yeah, I would imagine. I don't know. I tend to be a safety savvy when it comes to the cloths and burning wires and stuff like that, man. I see people doing it and I cringe.
Well, see, a lot of the clubs out here have banned them too, like the wires for burning things. Now, I have never ever in 40 years had a wire catch on a thing, because it's logic, it can't catch. Doesn't matter how rough the timber is, it can't catch on it unless you're doing something really stupid. And unfortunately, that's the problem. It's removing the stupidity part.
Yeah. Well, my wire has handles on it, so.
Yeah, well, so do all mine.
Yeah.
So you just pull it tight, and that way.
Exactly.
And you don't wrap it around.
No.
That's where people get in trouble.
Like I have corrected a few people that have sort of put it 3/4 of the way around the timber light. They'll have the back one right down low and the front one down low, so you're contacting most of the timber, and that's the worst thing you can actually do, because it may grab there. I've never had one grab, but I'm like you, Dark. I just pull it out tight, sit it down on the top of the timber. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've used Formica cards. I've got several of different widths that I've used, and they're fine too. They're a lot safer because you only got one hand.
A popsicle stick works good for burning. I mean.
Oh yeah, that works well.
it just, depends on what kind of thickness you're trying to burn in,
Yeah, the type of wood.
Yep. Anything to cause enough friction to burn. I've seen Jay use his tongue when he, had cottonmouth.
Oi, that'll be enough out of you. look what you're doing to Robbo. You're making him cough.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Well, it's after midnight.
Well, I've
Probably
actually,
I've been up
I've,
a long
I've
time
actually-
since 6.
I've actually used the edge of a skew to burn a ring around too.
I've
Like
seen
the
that. I've
sharp
seen that
corner.
you're trying to teach Jay how to do that one night. To use
Thanks for
the
coming in,
corner.
Dr. Bob.
Yep.
Good night, Dr. Bob.
I'll catch you later.
Good night, Bob.
Fun.
See you later.
Stay pretty.
See you in Victoria. Yeah, and on that note, I'm going to knock it on the head.
Yeah. Maggie's are singing well. Bye bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
Bye, buddy. Have a great night.
See you later, Robert, Chris, Doc, Robbo. See you later.